Micah again. I am back with yet another of my craft fair projects. I got this idea from Lyric Lover, again, Amanda, but I had to have a little tutorial from May Made It. Thank God for May because this 1, 2, 3 punch board I am learning how to use in order to make envelopes. So it's not, for me, all that easy of a thing. The particular envelope design that I am making here is going to be based off of Lyric Lover's project. And she's got 3 3/8 as the initial score line. So now on her board, she has the actual envelope punch board. And it's supposed to have the same measurements as this 1, 2, 3 punch board, because the 1, 2, 3 board is where you can do envelopes, and that's the blue, bows in the white, and boxes in the pink. And then it gives you the measurements for each one. Lyric Lover was using her envelope punch board, and then when I flipped over to May's tutorial, because I just wasn't getting all these little slots and everything. So when May was explaining it, she actually had the punch board that she was showing and demonstrating. Her measurements match my measurements. But she did make the point that the blue should be the same measurements as those of you that have just the regular envelope punch board. I'm sorry, my heat just kicked on. I am in the USA, so I am using the imperial measurements, which is why I have that word written down here. They give you another little sticker that has measurements, and they're all in the metric system. The envelope that Lyric Lover is having us make, let's see, it is the 4 by 5 piece of paper that I have that was out of her project. She has a 4 by 10, so that's going to make the card size a 4 by 5, which when you look here, I don't know if you can see this, but it says 7 5/8 should be your paper size, which she had me cut all of the paper, Lyric Lover did, at a 7.5 by 7.5 square. So that is where this is different from the envelope punch board, because when Lyric Lover is using her envelope punch board and she goes to look at the 4 by 5 measurement, it does say 7.5 by 7.5 on the paper punch. So here, mine says 7 5/8, so I didn't follow my actual punch board. I just kept to the plan of Lyric Lover's project. Now, what I did with May's instructions, since I need a 3 3/8 punch, and by punch, I mean these little areas here that make the corner punch on everything here, so that you can score your line up to that. The 3 3/8 is what Lyric Lover wanted us to do. So mine right now is at the 3 3/8. Then punch it. So now all these different slots here, these two, the largest ones, are your main envelope scoring areas. And this third one over here is if you want to have like a gusseted envelope, or if you're making bags or boxes or whatnot. So that was the part that Lyric Lover didn't really say, and her angle of filming, I couldn't tell if she was over here or over here. The first thing you do is you do your punch, and then you can't really see it over here, but I don't want to move my paper, but you got this scoring line and this scoring line. So I'm going to put my little scoring blade in there, and I'm going to just go down the line here. Okay. Now I'm going to, off camera, have to do that again, because that's not, I didn't put enough pressure once this paper moved on me. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Now when I take this out, see how it's got a little punched area here, and then that score line comes off of it like the ray of the sun. So now I'm going to turn it to the left, and this time I'm not worried about putting it at my 3 3/8 measurement, because now what I have to follow is my score line. And that's another thing that Lyric Lover didn't really talk about, but May covered that. Thank you, May. I'm lined up with the inner scoring line here on the left and the line down here, which is the remaining scoring area. So my already scored line is lined up. This measurement over here doesn't really matter because I'm not following the board on that or anything, but this is also not part of my envelope project, but just, you know, for those that need it. It is 4 1/4. I turned it, so now I'm going to do another punch. I'm sure that I'm lined up here. Do another punch and go right back in here to this scoring area and put down some good pressure and come down through that first scoring line. Okay. So again, I can't do that on camera while I'm holding my iPhone, but this is what you're going to be doing down that score line. Now, depending on how thick your paper is, you may not want to put so much scoring, or don't go right here on the very tip of your little blade, because it can cause the paper to, on the other side where the design is, be real rough cut. If you're wanting the design to be the outside of your envelope, especially be careful not to put too much pressure, because then it'll look ugly on your edges on the outside of your envelope. Alright, so now I'm turning it. Now when I turn it this time, it is actually going to be back on my 3 3/8 project measurement. So if you notice, here I am, I'm at 3 3/8. It lines up perfectly with the inside where I need to be, and my scoring line here on this side of the card lines up with the scoring line on here. So I know that I'm on the right path, and whoops, punch it. Do that thing again where I'm in this slot right here to score down on this line. And now I'm going to turn it. Now again, I'm turning it this last time, and this is going to be a longer lip of the envelope, so I'm not really concerned on this turn again about being on the 3 3/8. What I am concerned about is matching up my line to this left hand area here and the score line down here. So 2 times you're going to be on your proper project measurement of 3 3/8 score line, and then 2 times you're not. You're going to be looking at where you're lining up on this left hand score area. So I've got everything punched here as far as the inside of my envelope, and I've got all of my lines scored. Now the other thing that I want to do, if you put your paper up here on the back area, right in here is a corner puncher or corner rounder. These are my long ends here, which is going to be the top and the bottom of my envelope. And then these 2 shorter ends are the side flaps of my envelope. I don't need the side flaps to be rounded. So I just went ahead and rounded this one by sticking it into that slot back there, hitting my punch button so that it then rounds my corner off. See how pretty that is? And I did that on the other side. Now, technically, you don't have to even do both sides on the long ends if you're going to do what I'm fixing to do here in just a second, which is to trim off what will become the inside bottom flap. See how I've cut this off right here? That's because when I fold these up, I don't want to have a rounded end that's going to be longer than where these 2 corners meet. I just like kind of the clean look to have a straight line right there instead of a rounded area coming in. Now the process becomes using your adhesive. Oh, when you punch, I don't know, the underside of your punch board, see that's where the punching gizmo is, right there. So it actually comes down. Now you'll want to use either a self-healing mat, or I just use the back side of my paper pad that I'm using up here for the cards. I'm just using that to protect my table. I actually do have a pad on the table, but I didn't want to make little indentions from each time that I was punching. Something to protect it whilst you are using your 1, 2, 3 punch board or your envelope board. When you fold these down, you can use this little blade here to score it. It's not really a bone folder, but it's like plastic or something. It comes with your 1, 2, 3 punch board. It's kind of tucked over here in the nook, right over here. You want to fold in the short flaps on the side. Then you're going to fold up the bottom flap. What you need to do now is take some adhesive and run along the sides here, the corners, so that it will adhere. Or you can do it on the outside bottom 2 corners of your envelope. So once you've done that, then you have an envelope. Now I don't do any kind of adhesive up here. I don't even put that double stick tape that people can peel off. I figure if somebody is going to use this envelope, they're just going to tape it down or use an envelope seal. So that's what I'm going to do. So there is a cute little project, and once I get some card bases made, I'll snap back over here and show you how that wound up being. got to get busy making a whole bunch of these before my husband gets home. Bye-bye, guys.